to Mad T-shirt, the quick reference guide to understanding elements of music. In today's session we're going to be looking at rhythm and how we'll describe rhythm in our listening and appraising exam. So before we even understand what rhythm is, it's really important to understand what a pulse is in music. And it is the beat in the music. And if we think of pulse and beat, or we think of the human body, that'll take us to the heart, which produces pulses and beats. Now, as we know, the heart moves at a consistent speed. So it doesn't go quicker or slower, it just stays at the same beating pace, or beats per minute as we call it. If we do exercise, of course, the heart will go quicker, and when we're asleep, the heart goes at a slower pace. Now, we'll talk about pulse in more detail when we're in the tempo and time signature. But this relates to rhythm because what we do is we then divide the pulse up into what's called rhythms, which is the organisation of sounds by their length. In other words, the rhythm is just the speed of the sounds and how they are broken up in the pulse. So we have a lovely table here with most of the rhythms that we will encounter when reading music and listening to music. And as you can see, they go from 4 beats all the way to quarter of a beat. So of course we hold this semi-brief for 4 beats. Now if we use this pulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm literally going to hold this semi-brief for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the way to semiquavers. So again, if we're using this, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have to separate that beat into quarter beats. Da 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 da. So about these rhythms, which is the speed of sound, is all based on beats, and this is how beats, pulse and rhythms all link together. So one of the basic things we can do when we're appraising music and we're commenting on the rhythm, we could actually comment on the type of rhythms that we hear. So are we hearing rhythms that are quicker? Are they slower in that pulse? Could we describe what they are? So can we hear semi-quavers, minims, semi-breves? So when we're actually writing about music in your exam, talk about the type of rhythms that you can hear. There are other ways to describe rhythms though, rather than just talking about the type of rhythm it is. We can actually talk about dotted rhythms. These are some of the most common types of rhythm that you'll hear. And as you can see, it has a little dot at the side. Now this type of dotted rhythm is a dotted quaver followed by a semiquaver. However, there are different variations. So here we have a dotted crotchet followed by a quaver. So again, we're using these type of rhythms to describe it. Now dotted rhythm literally means we make the first one a bit longer. So when you put a dot against a note like that, it makes it a bit longer. Quite often dotted rhythms are followed by a shorter rhythm, so shorter sound. So I'm going to play this example here. This is what it sounds like. So it's just a bit long and followed by a shorter rhythm. This type of rhythm, the dotted quaver followed by the semiquaver, is quite a well-known rhythm. It's used a lot in military music, or royal music, or if you're wanting to create that pompous effect. So it would sound like this. It's quite snappy. So long, shot long, shot long. And a lot of dotted rhythms will follow that rule of a long rhythm followed by a shorter sound length. Another common type of rhythm that we can use, and something that you may wish to describe in your listening exam if you hear it, is a triplet. And just as it says there, triplets and the 3, we have to fit the 3 notes into the space of 2. Now how do I know I'm listening to a triplet? You can say the special word Saturday because it's got 3 syllables. So a triplet would always follow this type of feel of Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. to play a little tune now and try and use a triplet rhythm. So you might have heard it, I went Saturday. So by thinking of that Saturday rhythm, and it has a bit of a lilting effect, you might be thinking you are hearing triplets there. Something that relates to pulse, this greatly relates to pulse, is syncopation or syncopated rhythms. So if you remember me talking about pulses, every piece of music has a pulse. And in this case, it's 4/4. So 4 beats or 4 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what happens here is the rhythm is not on that pulse, it's not on that beat. So it's actually falling off beat. And syncopated rhythms create that offbeat rhythm. So syncopation means offbeat. How do you know you're listening to syncopation or syncopated rhythms? Find the pulse, and if a rhythm doesn't fall on that pulse, so it's not being heard when the pulse is being played, that is syncopation. I'm going to use a metronome. So all those rhythms I was playing was off the beat. I was not playing when the beat was playing, so it was off the beat. It's quite often used in a lot of pieces of music, from pop all the way to classical. And syncopated rhythms create a real catchy effect that is really interesting rhythmically, and it gives you a bit of a dancing feel in some cases. The opposite to syncopation is on the beat. And again, a lot of music may be simply on the beat. So the rhythms I play will be on the metronome or on the pulse or on the beat, such as this. So every time I was playing, it was on the beat. There is a hybrid, or what we can do is combine the both, syncopation and on the beat, and create what's called an umpa rhythm. So this is where you may have the bass, which is on the beat, and maybe the treble or the higher part is off the beat. So my right hand was not playing when the bass was playing. The bass was on the beat, and the right hand was off the beat. And we call it an umpa, 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 umpa rhythm. So that combines both of them. Something else that is often used, or another way to describe rhythms, is a rhythmic ostinato. And an ostinato is a repetition in music. So this could be a rhythmic repetition. In other words, something that keeps going all the time. Now it can't just repeat for a few bars. It can't just be for a few seconds. A rhythmic ostinato will repeat for a length of time. So if we're listening or trying to find another way of describing a rhythm when you're in your listening exam, maybe think, can you hear a rhythm that is constantly repeating all the time? And that would be called a rhythmic ostinato. So just going back to our checklist, because if you were having to write in detail about the rhythm in your listening exam as like an extended writing, we could talk about the type of rhythms we're hearing and talk about, you know, the semiquavers, the minims, or just talk generally like the quick or slower rhythms. But you won't get as many marks. If you try and use the correct terminology, you'll get a few more marks. Something else we can talk about is the rhythmic features that we've learnt about today, like dotted rhythms, triplets, syncopation, on the beat, umpa, or rhythmic ostinato. Now the next section is what I call stylistic rhythmic features, because these will only happen in certain styles. So one of the most common type of rhythms that is used in pop is the straight 8 rhythm. And we call it straight 8 because we have the quavers. So you can see here that we're playing 8 quavers in a bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they will be a bit like a driving rhythm. They'll just keep the music chugging along. They'll be pushing it, they'll be driving the music. Now this could happen in the keyboard part, so I'm going to play straight 8 rhythms in my right hand, in the higher part. Or it could actually be in the drum kit, where we actually have the cymbals playing along, and the cymbals might be going tss, 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 just keeping that rhythm going. So the straight 8 rhythm, quite often used quite often in pop, more often than not you'll find it there, and it just keeps it going. It's a bit of a driving rhythm, keeping the music chugging along. The opposite of this is the swing rhythm. Now this is used in jazz and blues. And what you often see when you read in jazz music, at the very beginning it says, these 2 quavers should equal this triplet rhythm of a crotchet and a quaver. Now what this will mean is, instead of playing this rhythm, which would sound like this, it'll actually sound like this. And that is a swing rhythm. So if I was to swing, maybe try and use some jazz and more blues notes. That actually creates a bit more of a lazy feel in the rhythm, a bit more laid back, that swinging nature, that jazzy nature, which is what makes jazz music instantly recognisable, and it's because of the swing rhythms, sometimes heard in the cymbal or in the percussion, and that is an instant recognisable feature in jazz and blues. Something that is used in Bhangra, Bhangra is a fusion pop music, Indian classical music and pop music, is this type of rhythm, and it's called the chal, and it's played in percussion on a percussion instrument, which we're going to learn about in another video called the dole. Here it is in motion. Oops. Now that is instantly recognisable in all Bhangra music, and again we're going to learn about this when we look at styles. So again, another little checklist we can use to describe rhythms is we can look at the type of rhythms that are being used, we can look at any rhythmic features that we can hear, and we can also look at any stylistic features such as swing rhythms, straight 8 rhythms, or the chal. Now you know, let's give it a go. So you're going to hear a piece of music, and I want you to describe the features of rhythm in this music. Once you've heard it, pause the video to write down your answer, or listen back to it again to give more detail in your answer. Off we go. answer, pause the video if you need a bit more time, or rewind if you need to listen to it again. Pause. Here are the answers we could have mentioned. The type of rhythms that we were hearing were mainly quavers, crotchets and minims. There were some rhythmic features within this. We had dotted notes, we had triplets, we had a rhythmic ostinato. It was mainly on the beat, but there was some syncopation towards the end in the trumpet. And there was no stylistic rhythms. Just to emphasise, we had the melody here, and as we can see, we've got some dotted notes, although these are much longer because it's dotted minims. And our rhythmic ostinato was this rhythm, which was played by the strings, which had triplets. Da 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 da, Saturday da 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 da, Saturday da 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 da. So let's have a listen again. So hopefully those answers are now much clearer. If you didn't get any of them right, or there was some mistakes. If you got them all correct, well done. So that was a very quick reference guide to understanding rhythms. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it was helpful. I'm going to see you in the next video. See you soon.